What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to today's downfall. First thing I'm going to start us off with is a little look at these crazy spikes in COVID cases. COVID, the cases, not that bad for the largest majority of the normal, unless you're elderly, have underlying health conditions, immunocompromised. COVID's not that bad. It can be in, I guess, some extreme situations, but overall, if you are healthy, under 50, 60 years old, something like that, you're pretty good. And right now, a lot of places are freaking out over COVID cases. Before, it was because people dying, but now it's just getting COVID. It doesn't matter if people are dying. If you have COVID, the world's ending. It's time to change the game. So, really quick, I'm going to show you some statistics. Right here, we have the whole chart from the, March of 2020 to now. This is cases, right? So you see the cases. They're doing the whole thing all the way through 2020 and into 2021. You know, we were all here for this. It just kept going and going and going. And if you watch the deaths, they did the same thing. They spiked really hard in the spike of cases. This is all pre-vaccine, right? December, January timeframe is when the vaccines became available. They've been pumping them out. Even with a lot of people being hesitant for the vaccine, they still, I think, reached a somewhat of the White House goal of 70% of at least one dose. So if you count 2 doses as fully vaccinated, we're not 70% at that mark yet. Anyways, so with this though, if you look, cases are going back up. They're talking about shutting states down. They're talking about, I think, yeah, one of the articles we're going to talk about today is New York. They did a vaccine mandate to do any indoor activities, dining, going to the gym. We'll look into that in just a second. But yeah, really what I want to show is this. So new cases up in 135,000, close to. So let's look at the 30-day. Actually, let's look at deaths. All right, so we're looking at thousands of deaths a day. Thousands of deaths a day during the worst parts, right? And that is kind of rough. That is very rough. So, but if you look at it, let's say the cases down here. So let's look at close to these times. So we're here. So this peak of April, but let's actually go back to February, because right there was a pretty high day. This was around the same peaks that we're hitting now. Back in February of 2021, deaths were high. Around the same time in November of 2020, deaths were high, thousands a day, right? So really, if they would stop freaking out, I think less people would be hesitant for the vaccine, because right now we're reaching the same case numbers, right? But the vaccine isn't about not getting it. It's so you don't die from it, so you don't get seriously ill from it. Supposedly, right? That's what they say. But if you look at the cases now, we're still reaching possible like over 100,000 cases. But look at the deaths. Look how low that is. Look at this. 63. 144. 49. On that high day, 671. 454. So we're dramatically lower. But also, these deaths, I would really like to see how long these people, I guess, have been sitting with serious conditions. How many of these are actually breakthrough cases and or recent COVID cases, and not people that have been sitting in the hospital on a ventilator for the past 3-4 months. But cases are going up. That's obvious. Deaths are not. I mean, we can look further in the future, like things could change. I could be completely wrong, but I don't feel like that's getting talked about enough. Whereas before, this bump here, a lot of deaths. this bump here, a lot of deaths. And then obviously the big one in the middle. See, the cases are actually like right here. So 1 December, let's look. Right there. So deaths were low 1 December when we hit that spike. Yeah, like right there. The cases, they spiked up. And the deaths started coming following December 1st, right? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. But if you look, the cases kept going. Like they were dramatically high until this low point here. We got spoiled right here in cases a little bit, but it's summer. You know, everybody's outside. People were mingling more. Like that makes sense that we hit our lowest number there. But like these right here are still relatively high. And we kept going down. You'd get an occasional spike. But like I said, those could be people that have been in the hospital the whole time and have been trying to recover from it. No, like we don't know. I'm sure that could be argued in some form or fashion, but we don't know. So that's something that I feel like is not getting talked about enough. So let's really quick get into, so there's been a lot of talks of vaccine mandates, mask mandates, new lockdown restrictions. There's a rumor that come next week or the week after that the White House is going to start talking about lockdowns again. We will see. I don't think it's going to happen. That's just rumors. Jen Psaki has already said that they're not going to reinstate any sort of lockdowns. They're not going to do any federal mandates. We'll see how long this lasts. I have no idea, especially now that New York has been the first state to say, hey, we're doing a vaccine mandate. So let's go look at that article. Let's see how it's lined up for y'all. There you go. Just like that. And this is coming to us from The Hill. New York City to require vaccination for indoor activities, restaurants, and gyms. New York City will require proof of vaccination for workers and customers who want to participate in indoor activities, including dining in restaurants, working out in gyms, and attending theater performances, Bill de Blasio announced Tuesday. So it says including, it doesn't say what all of these activities are, but I'm figuring it'd be normal movie theaters. Well, I mean, that kind of actually does cover it. Restaurants, gyms, and theaters. That means arcades, pool halls, bars. Because I'm sure pool halls and bars and stuff like that count. This is activity. So going into a store, you won't be required of vaccination, I'm guessing. This is more leisure. So if you're unvaccinated, you can't go out and enjoy your evening or weekend. Policies, yeah, it's the first. So we will see how that is. And they already have something called the Excelsior Pass, but I think that was just so you had it. And now, yeah, oh, there it is, Excelsior Pass right there. New York City, the first U.S. city to institute a municipal vaccine passport. The state developed its own Excelsior Pass mobile app, which debuted in March. Yeah. So that's getting us into crazier times as we move forward in this mess. That's absolutely insane to me. Like, there is an entire article written about it, but really that first paragraph knocks it out. Key to New York City Pass program will begin. The key to, they even call it something like that. Like, you can't enjoy our city unless you're vaccinated. And they're wondering why people are leaving in droves. Like, they don't really have businesses anymore in New York City. A guy I watch on YouTube, Louis Rossman, shares it's a shithole now. It's a terrible place to be. And this is going to make it hurt even worse. Begin August 16th, and enforcement will begin September 13th. Okay. Let's take a little browse down here really quick. Sports arenas, concert halls. Could use the app. Oh, yeah. If they wanted to do the vaccine passport, they could, which as a business, I think that's fine. No shirt, no shoes, no service. You can say, hey, I don't want somebody that's unvaccinated in here. That's fine. but that also means that baker didn't have to bake that cake. Uh, if you don't understand what I'm talking about that baker that refused to make the gay wedding cake, and all hell broke loose. So, but now, with big tech banning people for content they don't agree with, leftists, liberals, and Democrats are all for privatized businesses making their own decisions. So, while other major cities, including Washington, D.C., San Francisco, and Los Angeles, will all recently reimpose mask mandates, de Blasio has expressed a reluctance to require them. So he's doing a vaccine mandate to get around the mask mandate. I think people are a lot more likely to wear a mask than they are to get jabbed. That's weird to me. He's that against masks. The thing that he's been pushing for so fucking long. He's like, no, I don't want them. Get the vaccine. Yeah, that's weird. City's focus has to be on vaccination. $100 incentive. Okay. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but that's good to not live in New York. Yeah. So with the whole vaccine mandatory or mandates, I do not believe we will see any kind of federal mandate on the vaccine. What I do see is federal encouragement for businesses, super centers, like was it Don Lemon already said that, oh, if you're unvaccinated, well, you can't go to the supermarket, well, you can't go to this. So you're denying people access to food and groceries because they're not vaccinated, but you want them to get vaccinated because you want to save lives. Definitely a weird pickle to put yourself in, Don Lemon. It's obviously got a bit darker in here. I had to take the dog for a walk. Not a big deal. So I just seen confirmation from New York's Attorney General, Governor Cuomo they have found proof of sexual harassment on multiple women. Back before Joe Biden was elected, he said that he should be prosecuted and resign if the allegations are found to be true. Well, the Attorney General said they were, and so we'll see what comes from that. I don't think anything's going to happen. On another note, going away from politics, we're going to go into a quick story. I'm just going to brief it up a bit. Scarlett Johansson is suing Disney for their Disney Plus release of the movie Black Widow. They paid her $20 million for the movie, and a lot more money was supposed to come through a theatrical release. This was supposed to be over a year ago when Black Widow was supposed to come out in theaters. Didn't work out. There are things usually within contracts to make them null and void, like through an act of God, which would be COVID. $20 million is a lot of money. I understand it if it's a breach of contract, but at the same time, you got $20 million and the world is burning. So get over it. But I don't like Disney either. So, I mean, take them for what they're worth. We'll see. Emma Stone may hop in on that as well for the Cruella movie that also was supposed to be a theatrical release and ended up going to Disney Plus. The biggest argument, I think, is since they charged for the movies on Disney Plus, I think it's like $20, $30 to get those movies. I don't know. I don't have Disney Plus. I didn't pay for them. They didn't get a cut of that like they would a theatrical release. And so they're wanting a cut of the Disney Plus purchases. Kind of makes sense in my opinion, but at the same time, you're complaining about only getting $20 million. Yeah, that's no. And this last thing I'm going to end it on is breaking news. Just came through. Let's check it out. Shooting at the Pentagon. Pentagon on lockdown after shooting incident. Pentagon's on lockdown with no personnel being allowed outside after a shooting incident that took place on a bus platform. A message sent by the Pentagon Force Protection Agency. The shooting occurred outside of the building on the Metro bus platform that is used by thousands by Pentagon workers daily. CNN reported, right now we've just confirmed the Pentagon is on lockdown. There's an incident at the Pentagon Transit Center. Chris Layman, a spokesperson for the Pentagon Force Protection Agency, said, describing the incident as ongoing. So that is all their news provides. Lame. All right, really quick, just to end it there. Didn't have that much to talk about today. Vaccine mandates happening in New York. It's pretty crazy. Andrew Cuomo, sexual allegations turned out to be true. He is guilty from per the New York AG. The Biden administration has encouraged mass mandates, social distancing, the whole 9 yards, vaccines, of course. The changes that we have seen from last week to this week over the weekend have not been that major until New York dropped that bombshell today. Probably, hopefully, to cover the media with that and not Andrew Cuomo's guilty plea. So we're going to see where the media concentrates. I'm sure CNN won't even cover it. If they do, it's going to be like 2 minutes. As soon as Chris Cuomo gets on there, it will not be talked about. He will not talk about the story with his brother. If there's a squeaking in the background, that is my dog. Then, yeah, the Scarlett Johansson thing going on. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. But if it is a breach of contract, she does have a good leg to stand on, even though it is Disney. But it really depends on if they put something in the contract for the whole like act of God clause, where if something crazy happens that they have no control over, it can make the contract null and void. Let me get this on. Come on, bud. Anyways, yeah. So I think we'll find out through the rest of this week if anything major happens. We'll see if Cori Bush and AOC make it on the steps all week. I don't think they will. Like I said, I'm positive House representatives are not coming back off their vacation because of Cori Bush and AOC sitting on the steps. That's just not going to happen. There possibly could be some loophole to happen, or states approving the eviction I'm not sure what that word is. Eviction moratorium. Evictions. Yeah. See if people get evicted. We don't know. I'm pretty sure Florida already said that they're not going to give federal funding out for or like give their funding out for that anymore. They're not doing the unemployment. A lot of places have already stopped the unemployment. I want to say just under half of the U.S. is no longer giving the federal extra unemployment out because they need people to go to work. No states are going to do lockdowns. So even New York City's not going to lock down again, but it did the vaccine mandate. So we're going to see how that rolls out. I am very curious how that plays out, if that's even legal, because that means he would have to require the businesses to have a vaccine mandate. That means you're hurting them. So they want to let people in there vaccinated or not vaccinated. He left the mask up to the businesses, but forcing them to check for vaccines. That's fucked up. Anyways, that's today's downfall. We'll see you tomorrow.